Hey, we are in downtown Stroudsburg and what I believe is Rotary Park on McMichael Creek. We're going to paint this scene. We're going to use a little 5x7 canvas panel and a pretty standard palette using thick-bodied acrylic paints mostly. We have ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, cadmium red, burnt sienna, yellow ochre. We have transparent orange oxide, cadmium yellow, titanium white, and a little bit of Mars black. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just going to put my kit down and frame the scene a little bit and take some mental notes about what's going to be included. Using my brush here, kind of sizing up. Probably go with a high horizon. Get more of the water in there, push that background back. And off center. A larger mass of trees on the left-hand side. That's what we're going with roughly right about there. All right, I'm going to tilt this a little bit just so you have an easier time seeing my canvas as I paint. And I'll start with a little bit of this transparent orange oxide and yellow ochre mixed up. And we will tone the canvas. I'm going to wet that a little bit. Kind of a dry day. I want to make sure we could push this paint around. The acrylic paint dries pretty fast, especially relative to oils, which I tend to paint in a little bit more frequently. Although lately I've been painting a lot in acrylics. They're fun. One of the advantages with acrylics is they dry fast. One of the disadvantages of acrylics is they dry fast. All right. So let's go ahead and get this whole thing out. A little bit of green sea and a little bit of dioxazine purple. A bit of a darker. A bit of a darker kind of wash in the areas where these big masses are, and generally the paint is going to be a little darker. There we go. Voila, done. So let's go ahead and use the same brush. Use a mixture. We'll create a purple, dioxazine purple, cad red, blue, a little bit of black. I'll map out some of the major shapes. So put this a little bit higher. Let's do the bridge. Maybe exaggerate that perspective a little bit. And paint is getting thin on my brush, so I'm going to use that to my advantage to lightly put in some suggestion of those buildings in the background. Hopefully I can capture some of the neat light effects that are going on, but I might not be able to move fast enough to do that. We'll see. Here, and then there's this suggest that and then behind that there's a smokestack. A little bit, and then there's a whole bunch of trees and other things going on here, and we're going to leave a lot of the detail out because I want that to kind of get pushed off into the back. Now let's mix up using the same brush a little bit of dark green, use some black, some blue, some yellow ochre, and a little bit of cad yellow. It's going to be some of our darker green. There'll be some throughout the tree shapes, but it'll be mostly toward the bottom. And you'll see this darker green. I'll work up slightly brighter green now, a little bit more blue and yellow ochre than black. A little bit of touch of cad yellow. Tree branch and this other series of tree branches here creating kind of like a tunnel. Now this will come down into the water. Purple, a little blue, a lot more cad, a lot more yellow ochre, a little bit of cad, yellow, a little bit of blue. Cool this off a little bit. All right, we're going to restate some of those darker colors. But before we do that, actually, you know what? We will do that now. You get a little bit of black in there, a little bit of blue, a little dioxazine purple, a little bit of cad red, and burnt sienna. Kind of a warmer, dark, and we'll kind of haphazardly sprinkle that in on the shoreline there, just to restate some of those. These are going to be some of the darkest shadow patterns in this painting. I'll make sure we don't lose them. Also, some of the undersides of the branches and so forth. Give an indication of that shadow in the water. These darker shadows. And start suggesting some of these tree trunks. Okay, so moving along pretty good. Switch brushes. I'm going to mix up some sky color. Ultramarine blue and white, maybe a touch of yellow ochre. Start working that in. That's a little too blue. It's closer. That up a little bit in spots. Start creating an indication of where the light is going to be most intense in these reflections. Make sure that I account for, create space for some of the big objects that are going to show up. And some light blue in the sky. I'm going to put this down for a bit. We're just going to state some of the shapes for the buildings. See if I can find another flat brush or an angle brush here. Maybe a bright will do the trick. I'm going to use my little angle brush. And we're going to start. That comes in front right here. It's going to be a grayish, light grayish color. It's on the warmer side. So yellow ochre, dioxazine purple, a lot of white. And keep that. Use this similar color for a lot of the highlighted reflections off of the cement into the bridge. Still warm though. Most part. Go with a much redder version of this. For smokestack. It's kind of iconic here in our little town. Very noticeable. To our reflection here. All right. Some more of this color around. It's there. We'll work on that bridge for a little bit. Mix up kind of a bluish green. So a little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of cad yellow, a little bit of white, a little bit of dioxazine purple, a little bit more cad, a little bit more ultramarine blue rather. And we have kind of this mint green. We want some breaking color because it's going to indicate some of the wear and tear on this bridge. Mix up a little bit more of this ultramarine blue, cad yellow, a little bit of dioxazine purple. And the bridge is a little weather worn, so we want to make sure that we kind of honor that. We're going to get a little bit of that. A slightly cooled down version of this color into the water. Slightly cooled down, slightly more abstract. Okay. Trees, water. Okay. All right, we're gonna start working on some suggestion of detail in this bridge. of a warm, musty couple of notes throughout. So that's Mars Black. Use this little brush. Lots of broken lines. We want to honor the fact that this is very worn, weather-worn bridge. Take some more of that, and we're going to suggest some of those. And more faint. Some of that same color. So shadow areas along the creek. We get a little bit more of a bluer version of that for some of the shadows in and around the bridge structure, just to suggest, and also have some variation in color temperature in the other shadow areas, but just to suggest some of these shadows. Okay, now I'm going to use a bit of a larger pointed round button and build in some more of these shadow patterns within and amongst the trees and foliage in the foreground. A little bit of yellow ochre, cad yellow, blue, black mixed together. And we'll start filling in some of these spaces here before we add in highlights and wrap up. Fish just jumped. I don't know if you saw that. I was probably blocking it, but that's pretty cool to see. This tree branch, a couple of tree branches, but one that's going to cut right across. Okay, use the same brush to denote some of the brighter greens that we have going on. So a little bit of ultramarine blue and cad yellow. And these are not the brightest yellows that we're going to add or greens that we're going to add, but they're kind of like the mid. Some point tree come across there. The light is changing fast, so a lot of what I was aiming at earlier is already gone. But that's plein air painting. All right, I'm going to suggest a little bit more strength and conviction. Some of these tree branches. So, I'm going to gray out a little bit, but there's a pretty significant tree on the shoreline. So, uh, get some suggestions lights here. A little too yellow, so we're bringing some of our blue. Maybe a little too white too. So there we go. A little too heavy-handed there, but it's okay. There's a tree coming across here. We're gonna just put in the basic shapes for this tree. Kind of reestablish some of the tree trunks here. So this one has a fair amount of light hitting. We're also going to gray it out. Let's open it to dry. Now it should make it easier to drag the paint over it, but that's okay. Have some other light bouncing around here. Here. Let's make it to here. All right. Back and state some of these lines. Get a bigger brush. Yes. Okay, back to my sky blue. Got a little bit whiter than it was. And we'll start punching some stuff. Probably have to restate chimney. That's pretty close to where we're going to finish. Just have a few touches that we need to make. Restate some of the grays, some of the warmer grays within and amongst the buildings for that chimney. Almost there. I think we're going to leave it there. The light's changing quickly, so there'll be no way for us to continue to chase the light effectively, but I'm going to leave it right there. Thanks for checking out the live stream here. Hope you have a great day. Hope to see you again next time.